What a glorious morning. Well, really a week, and it felt so good to work in the dirt this week. Oh. Okay, yes, we have a story and then some reflection. Pastor gave me this story. It's called The Ukrainian Acorns and Canadian Oaks. When Abe Ept says he wants to help MCC plant seeds to leave a legacy behind, it's more than just a metaphor. He's donated financial seeds in honor of MCC's centennial year to ensure relief and development in the name of Christ, that it will continue. But he also planted the seeds of something far more literal. Not far from his front door is an oak tree, born from a little acorn of the legendary Kortista oak in Ukraine, believed to be nearly 1,000 years old. And there's a wonderful picture of the oak and Mr. Earp, so I'll leave that up here. Those acorns found their way to Canada when Abe and his late wife Eleanor traveled to Ukraine in 1984. The area of Ukraine they visited is where Abe's father, Henry Ept, grew up. Henry was a young boy when a deadly famine threatened Ukraine Mennonites in the wake of the Russian Revolution. It was this famine that prompted the creation of MCC, and Henry was among those fed by MCC's first relief kitchens in the 1920s. During Abe and Eleanor's trip, while they walked in the shadow of the historic oak, Eleanor grabbed a handful of acorns to bring back home. Those acorns have flourished in their orchard and have already parented hundreds of saplings planted across Canada. The symbolism of this legacy is not lost on Abe. My father and grandfather would have had church meetings under the tree in Kortista, says Abe, who is now a 91-year-old resident of Ontario's Niagara region. They were fed by MCC in the shade of that tree. And when those Anabaptists who sent him across the world to feed my father and grandfather, they were planting seeds of their own. Abe also says giving to MCC as it celebrates its centennial year is something he's honored to be able to do. He hopes that he can spread the idea of supporting MCC to the next generation, the same way those acorns have spread saplings across the country. There's a saying in German that translates to, if you've been saved as a refugee, you become refugee-minded. My parents were refugees. I realized I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for MCC. This year, he also planted a centennial tree through an MCC Canada Centennial fundraising program. He supported many other programs over the years and hopes that his family and others will continue to do the same when he's gone. And while legacies like oak trees don't live forever, Abe says he hopes he's planted all the seeds he was given by God. Christ told us to feed the hungry and clothe the naked, and that couldn't be more in tune with MCC's philosophy. With nearly 80 million people displaced from their homes around the world today, Abe says he knows what drives him to keep trying to help people. Christ told us to feed the hungry and clothe the naked. So you can join Abe in ensuring the legacy of MCC's work by giving a centennial gift to MCC. That's a wonderful story and very uplifting and just wonderful. So after reading that, like many of us do, and I know I do, I reflected on just a couple of things that really stuck out to me. First, the German saying, "Saved as a refugee, you become refugee-minded." Made me think, maybe we are refugees as well, saved by the blood of Jesus. Then what about oak trees? Oak trees happen to be my favorite tree, which was interesting. I think the Lord was working here. They are long-lasting. They stand tall and strong. They do not bend or avoid storms. Their roots run deep and constantly soak up nutrients. Now, the word tree is mentioned many times in the Bible, but what about the word oak? I found it is mentioned a few times. One such verse is found in the book of Isaiah, chapter 61:3. It states, "To grant those who mourn in Zion, giving them a garland instead of ashes, the oil of gladness instead of mourning, the mantle of praise instead of a spirit of fainting. So they will be called oaks of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he may be glorified." Now, I found this a message of hope for anyone that puts their faith in Jesus. The enemy wants us to view ourselves as weak and incapable. Our God tells us we are like oaks, strong and firm because of our foundation. Even in times of trials and sadness, we have Christ with us. So then I got to thinking, Isaiah 61:3 can relate to today. And immediately I thought of all the people of Ukraine that are displaced now. But how about for us here in Potter County, Allegheny County, Steuben County? Can we relate to Isaiah 61:3? So then, and it's again, the Lord works in mysterious, wonderful ways. I found a poem that I found several years ago, and it helps remind me where our roots and foundations lie, how God is right there by our sides. So I'd like to read this to you now. It's called "The Oak Tree." A mighty wind blew night and day. It stole the oak tree's leaves away, then snapped its boughs and pulled its bark, until the oak was tired and stark. But still the oak tree held its ground, while other trees fell all around. The weary wind gave up and spoke, "How can you still be standing, oak?" The oak tree said, "I know that you can break each branch of mine in two, carry every leaf away, shake my limbs and make me sway. But I have roots stretched in the earth, growing stronger since my birth. You'll never touch them, for you see, they are the deepest part of me. Until today, I wasn't sure of just how much I could endure. But now I've found, with thanks to you, I'm stronger than I ever knew."